Many people are excited about electric cars. I would be too if they were made the way they should be. Until battery technology catches up with other technologies, we must muster along with hybrid cars for the long-haul abilities. This deserves a talk about. Hello anyone, I'm Scott Bain. They call me the Old Farmer. We are somewhat limited in what we can do with electric vehicles. Where the technology is a viable replacement for ICE engines are in most route driving, package and mail delivery, school buses, anything that has a specific mileage that it drives every day, or a known mileage that can have a bit of a buffer for road closings that can affect miles driven. Another example could be food deliveries, where there are only a few miles driven every day. City buses are a little bit different. A full charge is given before leaving the garage, and quick charges are made every few minutes at specific bus stops. In other words, a quick charge to top off the batteries. If a route vehicle, such as a school bus, cannot hold a day's charge for the daily mileage, then after the morning run, it goes back to the garage and a forklift would pull the battery pack for the bus and replace it with one that is fully charged. It would be like a forklift pulling a pallet from a truck and replacing it with a different pallet. In just minutes, the bus would have fresh batteries for the afternoon run. I would recommend that the school would keep 2 or 3 diesel buses on hand for field trips beyond the range of an electric bus. So, except for the initial investment in electric vehicles, the technology is in place for route electric vehicles, which means as the budget allows, switching to electric vehicles would be a wise decision if it fits the specific business's criteria. There are 3 major flaws in today's electric vehicles, 4 flaws when talking about hybrid vehicles. We'll start with all electric because the hybrids have these problems too. An electric car and many of the electric trucks should not have just one huge motor under the hood. This is only swapping out a traditional motor for one that is electric. This is why I think Tesla is a bad designed car. What we want is a totally redesigned vehicle. We eliminate the large one motor for 4 smaller motors, 1 motor on each wheel. These will be reversible DC motors. That's direct current, which has more power than an AC motor. Not only are AC motors less efficient, the DC current from the batteries have to be converted to AC first. This uses up about 40% of the battery power just converting DC to AC. So we use DC reversible motors. This does 2 things. It removes the need to have a transmission and a differential, besides all the weight that is removed from the vehicle by eliminating these 2 things. A transmission and a differential can use up to 60% of the power. So by removing the AC to DC converter, the transmission and differential, we have reduced the amount of batteries needed, or we have gained distance. Just to let you know, with all these things in place, we lose up to 84% of the power or runtime of the batteries. So by moving motors to the wheels and making the motors reversible, we have gained a strong advantage to the system. We cannot totally compare horsepower to horsepower between gas and electric, but conversationally, an electric motor has about 1/3 more horsepower. An electric motor is measured in foot-pounds, not horsepower. They're similar, but different. Also, depending on if you want a primarily front-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive vehicle, we can configure the motors as follows for a vehicle needing a 160 horsepower gas motor. By converting to electric, the power reduces to about 110 horsepower needed, with everything else being equal. Remove the transmission because the electric motors don't need one. Eliminate the differential because each wheel is independently controlled. And that 160 horsepower goes down to being needed somewhere around 80 horsepower. These are very, very loose numbers. Not exact, because it depends on how things are configured. So let's say we want a car that most of the time the back wheels are powering the car. That would mean about 25 horsepower on each front wheel. The back wheels need only about 15 horsepower each. That would mean going down the road using about 30 horsepower. When the car starts up, it's an all-wheel drive and gets up to speed quickly. Then the front wheel motors turn off and we go along using only the two 15 horsepower back wheels. Or we can configure it just the opposite with the 25 horsepower on each back wheel and the 15 horsepower on each of the front wheels. If you're climbing a ridge, because most roads are not usually flat, the drive goes to the higher power set of wheels, and the lesser set of wheels turn off. In a parking lot, only one 15 horsepower wheel is needed. A computer decides by power needed and the traction from the wheels how to power the car and what wheels should be used. This will also reduce tire wear because the computer will sense traction, and when traction is lower, it compensates. When you added regenerative braking, some of the energy is returned to the batteries. But let's make it even better, magnetic braking. The more you press on the brakes, the closer the permanent magnets are pushed nearer to the disc, as in disc braking. The difference is the magnets never touch the disc, no wear on the brakes. Is it safe? You bet it is. The cars that run on the salt flats can now go faster than the speed of sound. They are stopped by the use of magnetic braking. Another example is those drop rides at amusement parks use permanent magnets to stop the fall. This way, if the power goes out, there's not a catastrophe occurring. It's perfectly safe. On a car, unless damaged, the brakes never need replacing. So we've made an electric car about 80% more efficient and significantly reduced maintenance. This is all within today's commercial production line capabilities. Will it cost more? Maybe a bit. And that means the cost of warranty work has been reduced, which means that it might be a wash and you wouldn't have to pay anymore. Now for hybrid cars and trucks. Building a vehicle that has two motors for driving down the road is absolutely asinine. The most stupid thing in the world. It's like having to buy 3 separate shoes to get a pair of shoes. We only need the electric motor. That's it. We do not need the secondary ICE motor to pull us down the road. What we need instead is a generator system that recharges the batteries. By not having to use the gas motor for driving, we can redesign the layout and put a gas or diesel or whatever fuel design motor that runs a generator most efficiently. It may be a turbine engine like they use in jet airliners, much smaller of course. It doesn't have to have fast pickup. It can wind up to speed. The only thing it needs to be is big enough to power a generator that will keep the batteries charged. So what if it takes 30 seconds to a minute to get up to speed? It doesn't matter because it's not powering the vehicle, it's running a generator to charge the batteries. Depending on circumstances, it will be somewhere around a 30 horsepower motor. It can also be run at higher temperatures, especially if it's a turbine engine. This means that all the crap for the environment can be left off, and it will need less fuel to charge the batteries. You could be going in to do some shopping and you lock your car as you normally would do, but that doesn't influence what the generator system is doing. If the batteries need charging, it still will be running. The only time that you would turn off the generator is if you are parked in a garage. You wouldn't want to have it running in an enclosed area. Also, there will be enough power to run the basics in your house if you lose power from the electric company, as long as there's fuel in the tank. It could generate electricity for your house. If this hybrid system sounds similar, it's because it's based upon how a train locomotive is designed. Electric motors move the wheels because of the needed torque that an electric motor can provide. There are huge batteries and are being charged by diesel motors. The diesel motors do not power the wheels. All I'm saying is downsize appropriately for a vehicle on the road. And if you want to change the source of fuel that you will use, it will be relatively cheap to change what you use. except maybe if you want to be burning wood or coal. The only reason why we have a hybrid car is because we have two fuel sources. The car can run completely on gas, or if we stay within the range of the batteries, we can run totally off of electricity. Or for longer trips, a combination of the two. When we can shave 5, 10, or 15% off here and there, what we are now getting is a vehicle that can go the distance. I feel like these current designs in vehicles was designed by a government committee that knows nothing about how a vehicle should be designed. I hope Elon Musk is hearing this because I'm talking to you, Mr. Musk. At least we don't need to use horsepower. Although, I've always liked a buggy ride. Thank you for watching.
Before we go, thank you to our subscribers who helped us reach over the 1,000 subscription mark. It's very humbling to receive the support from our subscribers. Thank you. I will always try to give you accurate information, and I'm not worried if you disagree in comments. Just remember, youngsters may read your words. Well, this is the old farmer Scott Bain saying, be well, be safe, and be kind to someone today.
Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, or ring the bell buttons on the original Old Farmer channel. We enjoy reading the comments that you leave, and they do help the channel, so keep them coming. And once again, thank you for watching the original Old Farmer.
The VFW National Home for Children, providing families of veterans and active duty military opportunities for growth and development in a nurturing community. Please consider a donation to help their children and families. I.C. Rhodes speaking.